the other groups too. And Billy Stewart.
He was my favorite.
I never saw him in person. He's very different. I love sitting in the park.
Billy Stewart was my favorite.
I do love you. So anyway, I'm up at the Raven. I'm 16 years old. I went there often, and I can't wait. I'm excited to see Billy Stewart because he hasn't been in this area. He wasn't around there, nowhere. And we went there, and he didn't show. Either he didn't show up, or he was sick. And I never heard what really happened. So there was, someone did say he might have had a heart attack on the bus. What was the real story?
No, the real story was Billy was sick. Okay. Billy was a diabetic.
Okay.
Now, every time Billy would get there, he would take an hour just to cool down. He hated driving in the cars. He hated our turnpike, especially if he was going from west to east. And he was always there, and he was always afraid he was going to get killed in an automobile accident. Billy Stewart died at the age 32, going from North Carolina in the Nassau River, and his 4 of them in the Thunderbird, and drove off and into the river, and he died at age 32. You know, I mean, I could tell you everything about a lot of the groups, but like I said,
did the bus show up that night though? Was he on the bus at night?
yes, he did show up, but he has diabetic problems,
We saw his
and he died at a young age. And as they said, you know, one time he was there one night. Well, I didn't think it was him because he had lost so much weight. He did play at Lawson's also. I got him jobs at Lawson's. Any other questions?
I have a question for Bobby. Bobby, with FASAC, do you do any type of tribute concerts? You know? Do you?
Yes, we definitely do. We do many tribute concerts.
Are you setting this up? I'm just asking a question that
Stay
you
tuned,
gave me.
stay tuned for Friday. Friday after Thanksgiving. Stay tuned for a potential Evening of Heart and Soul put on by John Harris, Decade of Champions, featuring class act and a Raven reunion part 2. We're working on it. Maybe bringing some people back in the day.
25th.
Whatever that, Friday the 25th.
Yes, go ahead. What's that? You know, I don't know the date. They've been asking me that. I know that when I bought it at the bank, at the Farmers Bank, I went in there and I said I had another $20,000 to put down. I owned the land. And they said, how many months mortgage did you want? We had an idea about how much money I needed. And I said, 36 months. They said, no, you're not buying a car. You're buying a building. I said, no, 36 months. And we paid it off in 36 months, so I know it was at least 3 years or so. But my concert business got so big, I had to do that. Yeah, and I don't know that date. I'm actually going to try to find out if somebody knows, because then it became the Rover.
Yes, that's what I wanted to know. When did it become?
Carl Lonza, the guy who was involved with me and things, he was a good construction guy, aluminum siding guy. He's the one that took it over and called it the Rover. I never let anyone use the name Raven.
What about the album?
What?
He played at the Uptown in Philadelphia. I used to sneak and go down there occasionally when I was too young. Did you ever go to the lady's house in the alley? She used to cook for all the musicians.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I used to eat there all the time. I can't remember her name. Do you remember?
Miss Pearl.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
There's a story behind that too.
Okay. All right.
The place behind the Uptown Theater where all the cast of the shows made in Philadelphia was called Miss Pearls. And they had all soul food. But there's a story behind it, which is all the artists go there to eat together at a big table in the dining room. So we went in and ordered our food, and David Ruffin, the lead singer of the Temptations, was sitting next to me. And David Ruffin said, "Bob, if you're ordering soda," he said, "it's not soda." He said, "It's just colored water." He said, if you ask for cherry, you get a red soda. If you ask for, grape soda, it's grape, with lime soda, whatever. He said, "But it's not it's not soda, it's just sugar water. It has no label on the bottle. And I said, okay. So he said, you know, just believe me. So young and dumb, we tried the soda. And he was absolutely right. He said, see, same thing happened to us first time here too. But they had absolutely great, that's where the cast ate, you know, all the time.
Her walls were still with all the photographs of all musicians.
Oh yeah, oh, that place was, anybody and everybody went through that place. It was terrific, yeah.
Anything interesting, or maybe a quick synopsis of how you got into
To the Apollo?
How'd you get into it?
We got into the Apollo, people that, a lot of people were theater goers, and they would travel, they'd do the Uptown, the Eastern Theaters here, the Uptown, the Howard in Washington, and the Apollo. And they started hearing about us, and we got booked into the Apollo Theater, just as one of the acts. We weren't headlining or anything like that. And it worked. The funny thing about the Apollo Theater for new acts coming in is they have an initiation. They have a spiral staircase that was 3 stories up. And the first time in, any act that comes in gets the room up top. And we didn't know it. And said that's what happened. But the Apollo Theater, something that did happen there that was unusual. James Brown came in to see us at the Apollo Theater. And he said, do you know any of my material? After he saw us perform, he said, I'm going to come in. He said, I've been hearing about your band. And he said, you know any of my material? And I said, yeah, we know you're live at the Apollo album. So he said, well, I was talking to the manager here. He said, would you mind at the 12 midnight show if we'd come out and do something? And I said, fine. He said, what keys do you do? And I said, same keys as the record. He said, do you know all the breaks and everything? Because he does a little skit there and everything with the jackets and falling on his knees. I said, yeah, we know all that. So I said, what side do you want, A or B? I said, we know the one side with please, please, please on it better. He said, let's go with that. So we did. And when he came out and we started playing, the entire audience they just stood up. They just stayed there the whole time during the show. And that was great experience. But as far as how we got there, usually it was theaters, they monitor one another, but a lot of people who go to those theaters in the eastern areas, they always say, you got to get this group or that group. So it worked a couple different ways, and they were all booked by William Morris Agency, though. Yeah, so.
One thing I wanted to bring up to you. Are any of you people familiar with Lisa Stanfield? Around the world? When I used to book her and everything like that, and I really liked being around her and the way she could sing and talk at the same time. And then I was doing Barry White concerts. And Barry could talk and sing at the same time. So I said to Addie Mann at William Morris, I said, hey, did you ever think about pairing Lisa and Barry White together? He said, why do you ask that? I said, I've done both of their concerts. And I think they would be great together if they had a 3-4 hour rehearsal to do 3 of her songs and 3 of his. I think they could really blend. If you ever go to your phone, ask to see that and listen to it. And I'm the one that paired them up. And like I said, he always said, you're the smart guy. He said, how'd you come up with that? I said, I don't know. I said, but don't have Barry's wife there. You know, let him alone. Because if you see it on your phone and listen to it, it's known as the best duet ever for that. They say, like, you know how Lady Gaga and that other gentleman just did something. This is really something to hear. And it was done in 1992. Barry White died on July 4th, 2013. And he was a great guy. He had a kidney. He taught me sort of like in the music world, they would say, Richard, you know what we need? We need 3 B's and a C. You know, I thought it was a big string. 3 violins and a cello. If you ever noticed on that thing about music, if you see 3 violins, 1 cello, you will see 6 violins and 2 cellos, or 9 and 3. Thank you. I love coming. The membership was free. There was no charge for the membership. The membership was our backbone for keeping people who didn't behave out. Did we find any cans of beer in the back of the toilets? Yes. Or something like that. But if you broke the rules, you lost your membership and you weren't getting your new one. But it's what we had to have because it was a teenage club.
Okay, I have another question. Somebody actually emailed it in. Dick, how did you manage to book the best R&B Motown groups? Was it affordable because the Magmen backed them up? Or did any of the acts for your band?
No, we were just lucky that we were able to change the price according to what the groups are going to be. Because you paid more for the Temptations and the Four Tops and the Miracles than you did for the OJs or the Delphonics or the Intruders. So you paid more for something and charged more.
When did the Raven close?
I don't know. I don't know, because it became the Rover, and I don't know that date, and I'm going to try to find it out.
And this is a question for Bob. In the mid-60s, R&B was the most popular music in central Pennsylvania, and consequently, most of the groups played it instead of rock or pop. Was that the case? And if so, why do you think R&B was so popular?
Well, actually, music in the area was, the most popular music in the area was rhythm and blues. And the Tri-County area, especially Dauphin and York and Lancaster counties, is very big. And it increased in popularity. Everybody was playing it, everybody loved it. I did want to call attention, I just saw one of the former members of the Yandels, my first group, Art Proctor is here. You know, Art? Yeah, you're right. Martha's Turntable. Actually, she's the one that pushed forth a lot of the R&B, and so did a guy named Toby Young, who had a radio show that played a lot of classic R&B and a lot of blues stuff as well. I did want to recap a couple things real quickly here, though, so that people know the history quickly. My first group that I put together was the Yandels. The second group I put together was the Magnificent Men. The third group I put together was Rita and the Heartbeats. And the group that I have now for the past 42 years with my lovely wife Rita over there is Class Act featuring Rita. And she is an exceptionally talented vocalist. And a great voice. Unbelievable. So, there are pictures up here if anybody wants to look at them or take pictures of them. There are pictures of all the groups, the Yandels, the Magmen, Rita and the Heartbeats, and Class Act featuring Rita. So, thank you very much. If you didn't also, one of the things I did want to mention, a lot of people don't know that one of our biggest fans is Sylvester Stallone. If I may pass that on. Thank you very much. Anybody have anything else? Questions? Yes. We actually opened up with, it was the Philly Dog. Yeah, then we, because